The Opie Anthony Show, along with the Ron and Fez Show, present, in memoriam of the tragic events of September 11th, 2001, a special replay of their programs that aired live that day.
This is going to be a very different show today.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You watch it, and like everyone's been saying, it's like we're just watching a movie. But it's real. It's real.
This is like our worst fear here in New York.
It's bad. It just looks bad.
It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon of Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
So this looks like it is some sort of...
Is the whole building coming down in front of my eyes?
Yeah.
Attack the World Trade Center.
The Opie and Anthony Show, then originating out of New York City and syndicated across the United States, is about to go live.
Oh my God, another plane has just hit. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
Due to the events of the day, the hosts are unable to get into their Manhattan studio.
We're not in Manhattan. You can't get to Manhattan.
Instead, they do the show from a radio station on Long Island.
These guys used our own planes as bombs.
It's just unbelievable to imagine that, tomorrow when we wake up and you see the skyline of New York, you're not going to see the Twin Towers there.
Here now is the Opie and Anthony Show as it aired that day.
Jeez,
Hold on.
battle stations.
Okay, I think we got it figured out finally. Yeah, it's Opie and Anthony.
Hey.
And I guess we don't have to tell anyone, but we might as well, that this is going to be a very different show today.
Yeah.
First of all, Anthony and I are not even in New York City. We're on the outskirts of New York City.
We're out on Long Island.
We're out on Long Island. Want to thank the fine folks of WLIR on Long Island. Got to give them a plug today because we're broadcasting from their studios.
Yeah.
This is just, we don't even know where to begin. This is just unbelievable. At 9:15 this morning, I was getting ready to go on a train to come into work to do our show today.
From Midtown Manhattan.
And
Yeah.
they completely shut down Manhattan, where no one is allowed into the city, which is just unbelievable in itself.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Anthony, who lives in Brooklyn, could not go into the city.
No, they shut down everything coming in. There was no way you were going to get in.
So here we are on Long Island to attempt to do a radio show today.
I don't know why.
You could crash at my place.
Because as I was driving in, I'm on the Belt Parkway, driving away from Manhattan, clear as a bell. I could do 90 because I knew there wasn't going to be a cop with a radar gun. So I got here really quick. But on the other side of the road, heading toward the city, and heading toward where I live, just a mess.
Yeah, they completely shut down the Long Island Expressway.
Yeah.
Which for people in other cities, just imagine your biggest road in your city just completely shut down.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're trying to set up communications. We're going to set up the website so we can read some instant feedback from all over the country. We're going to take a ton of phone calls today, right, Ant?
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows what happened. I don't even know that we got to run through it 8 billion times again. Now it's all about revenge.
Right.
Whose ass do we kick?
Right.
About this? Because I can't just sit by and think of all the other times that things have happened and the president has the rah-rah speech, and before you know it, weeks turn into months, and you realize nothing happens, and the general pissed-off attitude you have just goes away, and you forget about it until the next time. And you get the same crap every time. This time, we need something huge, a response quick and so decisive and brutal to whoever did this that they have to think twice about doing it again. Or they just plain don't exist anymore. Or they don't have the resources to do anything except skin animals for clothing in the caves that they live in. That is what we should do this time, because this is unbelievable.
Yeah,
you watch it, and like everyone's been saying, it's like just watching a movie. But it's real.
Yeah. First of all, how did you hear about it? I mean, what were you doing?
Me sleeping. What else do
you were
I
sleeping,
do
so
at
you
that
didn't-
hour?
I was up in Northport, and I was listening to the morning show in New York on WNEW, the sports guys, and they're like,
You're the guy that listens to that program?
So they're on the air going, all morning we're talking nothing but Giants football.
Oh.
And then I'm like, all right, I'll check them out for a little while. And then I go in and have my little breakfast, and I come out, and all of a sudden they're talking about a plane hitting the Twin Towers. You and I have talked about this on our radio show. We said on numerous occasions we're surprised that
someone hasn't done it.
Yeah, that no one has ever done that before. I'm not even talking about a terrorist attack. Just a nutcase in the area that wants to just end his life and do it in style by crashing into one of these buildings. We talked about that recently on our show. So I'm just assuming it's a Cessna or something, and it happened. A guy, he decided to end his life, right?
Right.
And so I'm listening to the sports guys describe this thing, and they're talking to someone on the phone, and everyone's watching TV at this point. And I heard them live say, holy, I think they even cursed because it was just beyond belief. Yeah. Holy ass, a huge jet just crashed into the other tower.
Yeah.
Now, the first thought, and I'm not trying to make jokes today, I'm like, man, those guys need, ratings that bad that they're going to go down this road and come up with some wacky radio prank.
Right, you're thinking it's a joke.
I thought it was a joke. And then sure enough, I'm just, I start spinning around the dials to make sure it wasn't, and I couldn't believe it. This is like our worst fear here in New York. If you work or live in the city, it's always in the back of your mind a terrorist attack or, some kind of explosion. And sure enough, today we're dealing with this, and it's just amazing because we all know someone that works in the Twin Towers, and our thoughts go out to them and their families because
it's bad. I don't know. You have that hope that you sit and you watch and go, hey, maybe after the first plane hit, a lot of people got out, and maybe this, maybe that. It just looks bad. It's too big to not have killed a lot of people.
Yeah, because
it's awful.
What were they saying? Like 50,000 people work in the towers?
They work in there on any given day. It's a lot of people.
And after the first plane hit, if the elevators weren't, even if the elevators were working, just a panic on every floor, people trying to get onto the elevators to get out of the building. So then you got to think, all right, people are going down in the stairwells. There's no way they all got out. Well, obviously not all got out, but not a lot of people got out in time.
What was it? 18 minutes between the two planes hitting?
Yeah.
So you got to figure, you know how people move. They're pains in the asses when you're trying to get through people. And even in a panic situation like that, it would be worse. So 18 minutes to evacuate 50,000 people in a building? Please.
Right.
It just doesn't happen, unfortunately, because it looks like it's going to be really bad.
And then I'm watching the TV, and they're talking to a reporter in the area, and all of a sudden I'm watching, I'm like, Is the whole building coming down in front of my eyes?
Yeah.
And then the reporter had no clue because she doesn't have a monitor, and they jumped in and like, wow.
I know. Who expected that? Well, I woke up, Rick called me up and said, oh, you better leave early to get in to Manhattan because there's trouble there downtown. Little understatement of the century.
Right.
And I was thinking of coming in, and I turned on the TV.
Yeah.
And there it is.
You drive right by
Towers.
that building every day.
Every day, I drive right down the West Side Highway coming into work because I'm in Brooklyn. And, drive right past the front of it. I mean, I look at it every day because it's amazing to look at, or it was anyway. Huge. And I drive past it every day, yeah. And I can only imagine the damage to the surrounding area, just having that much stuff come down on top of everything. But then I looked out my porch window, and there it was, Manhattan, South Manhattan on fire.
South of like Canal, basically.
Just big plumes of smoke coming up. Later on, I saw some military vessel going up the river when I was coming here down the Parkway. But roads closed, people just walking around and looking dazed. It's like something you don't want to believe, like a movie, like a bad movie. You're watching it, and I'm watching the side of a building come out when a plane hits it, and you go, that's good CGI. Wow,
yeah.
That looks pretty real.
Yeah, it's so surreal. I think we're all going to wake up tomorrow and go, did that really happen?
Yeah, I'm watching people running down the street, and there was a couple of women just cowering behind a car, and I'm looking at them going, you got to give it more believability here. It's bad acting. Looks like bad acting.
The pictures are just unbelievable. We're flipping around like crazy, and we just saw some footage of, I guess it was a cop. Basically just push a lady out of the way to outrun the wall of smoke coming his way.
Yeah, when those buildings came down, the plumes of smoke that came through the streets, like the streets act like a canyon, so it just blows down the roads in Manhattan. And some people had their backs turned. Now, they heard the boom, and they start trying to get out of the way, but the cloud of smoke just engulfed them. And the people running away that saw the cloud coming weren't stopping to help the people that didn't. I saw an old lady in blue, and she's kind of walking down the street, and a big cloud of smoke's coming after her, and this big fat guy just kind of pushes her out of the way.
Yeah.
It's horrible, but you kind of see what we're all about sometimes. There's the heroics, and then there's the people going, hey, get out of my way. I'm saving my own ass.
Right. What about the guy that was behind the ambulance?
Yeah.
And he couldn't see the wall of smoke coming while everyone's just running by him, and he was completely engulfed.
Just, sucked them right up. Awful. But now it's all about the next phase of this thing, which is retaliation. Because you could rehash this. It's over. I don't foresee anything else happen. It's kind of eerie when you look up in the sky and don't see any airplanes.
Right.
I drove right past Kennedy Airport to get here, and nothing. And you're used to you take it for granted that there's going to be planes in the sky, and nothing. No planes. And now I think the next big story is going to be when we finally attack whoever's responsible for this. I don't even care if they're totally responsible. If you backed terrorism, if you're a country known to harbor terrorists, that's it. Start putting some of that those tax dollars I spent on some of this military hardware to work. Because we just have to answer hard. Bad.
By the way, CNN just reported a little while ago, and we're trying not to make jokes today, trust me. Disney World and Disneyland is closed.
Oh, thank God.
CNN reporting that. Very important that they report that today.
There's bandwagon jumpers that close things, I think,
So if you're just tuning in, it is the Opie and Anthony show, and we're not in Manhattan. You can't get to Manhattan. You could barely get out of Manhattan. Did you see the footage of everyone just walking across the Brooklyn Bridge? Thousands upon thousands of people like it was the New York City Marathon?
Yeah.
Amazing.
They're walking up the FDR Drive, which is just a huge road in Manhattan, and no cars. They're just walking home. The mayor just got on and said, look, walk home.
Walk home today.
And these are people that commute in every day.
So here we are in the studios of WLIR on Long Island, and we don't have anything.
No, we're just here. I guess we're going to try to take a few phone calls and whatnot.
Yeah, we finally hooked up the website. I think we could get instant feedback in a few minutes here. We got to get the web address for that. When the days go by, we're all going to know at least one person that perished. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, because it's the scope of this is huge. Just huge.
They showed on CNN the track of was that the first plane that hit the tower? I think it was the first plane, right?
Yeah, it was leaving Boston, heading towards Los Angeles, and it goes on its normal track because there's a bunch of websites where you can track the flights of aircraft, and you see it going on its normal track west, and then all of a sudden it just makes a sharp turn south. Somewhere
in Pennsylvania, just as sharp as could be, turn south.
It was over New York, upstate New York.
Oh, it was? Okay.
It turned south, and that you can assume is where these scum of the earth took the plane over, and you start thinking all kinds of thoughts like these are human beings on these planes, and what the hell was going through their heads? Did they know what was going on? Was there a big commotion? Were the pilots even alive?
Well, they had a guy on a cell phone. This is all facts, by the way. We're going to try not to hang out in the rumor zone today.
Yeah.
CNN said it was a fact that someone on that hijacked plane from Boston to L.A. that made the sharp turn somewhere in upstate New York, south. He was in the bathroom of the plane on a cellular phone, screaming, going, "We've been hijacked! We've been hijacked!" They stayed on the line with the guy until they heard a big crash or a big explosion, I guess they said, and that was it. Boom.
I think that was the plane that went down in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, okay.
Which people are assuming it was shot down because by that point the Pentagon had been hit and both of the towers of the World Trade Center. So. I had heard reports that F-16 fighters were surrounding a plane, and you got to assume there too, what's going through their heads. If they have to take the shot on a plane that has passengers on it, but you got to do it because it's
you don't know if that plane's going to hit the Empire State Building or something, right?
What's the next target? These terrorists, this scum, managed to use our own planes as bombs.
Amazing.
So you sit there and think about all the debate that's gone on about these missile defense systems and whatnot. That hey, they knocked the nuclear missiles out of the sky. This is great. We're safe. These guys used our own planes, which opens up a whole nother can of worms around the lameness of airport security. You know, you like to feel great when they ask you that question. Did you pack your own bags? Did you leave your bags with anyone you don't know? What's the guy going to say? Oh, you got me. Okay, I did. Yeah, I'm a terrorist.
Yeah, because these hijackers had to get weapons on the plane. You're not gonna hijack a plane with a butter knife.
Right. You know? You have to assume that there was some kind of weapon there to intimidate the pilot into giving up his seat. You know, they don't normally do that. And you could also assume that the pilots didn't fly these planes into these buildings, that they were incapacitated, and the terrorists flew these things into these buildings. So it opens up a whole can of worms with airport security and what the future's going to hold now for people that want to travel. I mean, it's really going to get tight. But, you know, looking in the past, it'll get like that for a while. Uh-oh. What are they showing on now?
This is new footage on CNN.
CNN, a side view of the airplane? Is that what I'm saying?
It's just unbelievable to imagine that, you know, tomorrow when we wake up and you see the skyline of New York, and we've all seen it a million times, you're not going to see the Twin Towers there. That's just...
Yeah, the Twin Towers are just... it's a landmark. They picked two landmarks that are just huge. One... known for the military, the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think Pentagon, you think the military. And a civilian target, you know, it's New York City. It's the World Trade Center. This is, you know, thousands of 50,000 people, up to 50,000 people work there. And that's a huge image of this New York City skyline. And they picked two, and they nailed us. And watching reports on CNN and whatnot of some of these people in these Mideast countries celebrating.
In Palestine, right?
Yeah, in Afghanistan.
They were handing out candy in the streets.
And they're handing out candy. They're celebrating. They're waving flags. They're smiling and laughing at total destruction.
Obviously, this is an act of war. Worse than Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
This is worse than Pearl Harbor.
You know, we had... a couple of thousand people die in the Pearl Harbor attack. And that was, you know, military targets. And it was during a very unstable time. But this is civilian targets and no provocation. Because of our policy with Israel, you know, go screw. I cannot wait. I beg the president of this country to just wreak havoc on every country that's ever sponsored terrorism, that ever harbored a terrorist, to just not hold back. I'm in favor of some tactical nuclear warfare there, Opie. I don't care. Drop the bomb. Just clear them out so they can't even do this anymore. That's it. Done. Right it's over on the other side of the world. I don't care.
Now, yeah, Mark, Psycho Mark on our radio show, I mean, I had no doubt this was serious, but I knew it was really, really serious when I tuned in Fox News. And there's Mark. Got to call him Mark today. Mark Walsh. As serious as I've ever seen anyone in my life be. And I'm like, that's Mark?
Yeah, I know.
And he's like an eyewitness to this whole thing. Because what? His building is pretty much right there?
Yeah, being from New York and living here, and like I said, I'm from Brooklyn, and I got a view from where I live of southern Manhattan. And when I was driving in here and I'm driving up the belt, to look over at the familiar skyline of Manhattan, the Empire State Building and the Twin Towers, and to just see smoke coming up from where the Twin Towers used to be, is you can't even, it's not like it's like it's not real.
No,
is what it is.
No, and being from Long Island, I'll give you another view. I mean, I'm way out on the island. Okay, I'm a good 30 miles from Manhattan.
Yeah,
I got on the LIE shortly because it was mostly closed, and you could see the smoke 30 miles away where I was. Just a huge cloud.
It's like one of those bad movies. And the roads being closed, that's another amazing thing, with no one being allowed to go west off of Long Island, or to go south if you're in Westchester. They've closed these roads, and you see they've used everything, because a lot of the police vehicles are being used in New York. So there's huge garbage trucks and dump trucks and flares blocking the parkways and highways going towards Manhattan. And It was like a scene out of Stephen King's The Stand or something, or you look and it doesn't seem real until it sinks in.
It's really not sinking in yet at all. It's just beyond amazing. We have a lot of friends in the NYPD and a lot of friends in the fire department. So
yeah, and a lot of those guys are going through some tough times right now too, because they were right on the scene. There were a lot of emergency workers at the base of those buildings when that happened. So hopefully,
plus the
a
hotel.
miracle happened.
No one has mentioned the hotel that.
The Marriott's right
one
there.
of the towers basically collapsed right on top of.
I know. And another plane's down in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania.
That's the one in the outskirts of Pittsburgh, actually.
Plane was a 747, flight 93 from Newark. And that went down in the woods. Now that, I heard the earlier reports that a 747 was surrounded by F-16s because it was headed toward Washington. So I wonder what the story is with that. We were listening to or watching CNN, and I think a lot of info is going to come from the black boxes and the recordings from the various towers that these planes had to go past. But, do it tomorrow, Bush.
Yeah.
Do it tomorrow. Don't wait. Bomb something. It's so frustrating when stuff like this happens.
I think his pop would have bombed something by now. I think Louis Black is going to call the show, Anthony, as well. Hey, Bluto. Uh-oh. Bluto.
What a disaster.
Hey, Bluto, what's up?
You should just kill anybody whose name you can't pronounce who has a beard longer than 2 inches. Just pick a country. I don't care. Kill somebody.
See, this is the frustration that we're feeling, man.
Oh, my God. I wanted to throw up when I saw it this morning.
What was your first thought, Bluto?
I couldn't believe it. I'm staring at the screen. I heard the sports guys. I turned the TV on thinking it's a joke, and there it is. And I'm sitting there live, and the second plane comes out of nowhere, and next thing I know, I'm like, the building's gone. It's just gone. I work 2 blocks from there.
Yeah. We all know people down there. That's what, I mean.
There must be 50,000 people there.
But just how it escalated, it was just like the first plane, I really thought it was just a Cessna. I mean, it still sucks, but I'm thinking, okay, some wacko, decided to take his life. And then the second plane hits.
When that second plane hit, you just blinked your eyes hard and went, what did I just see?
A 767 hits the Twin Towers. And then you keep watching, and then you find out the Pentagon gets hit.
And then when they fell down, it was just
the whole news went silent. It just collapsed.
What do you say? You're just watching going, all right, the plane's hit, but hopefully, because you keep hoping that, all right, hopefully they'll be able to fight some of that fire and they'll get the people out and stuff. And then when you watch the buildings just come down, it was like the only thing I could even equate it to is watching the Challenger explode. And then where you're sitting there and you're going, all right, maybe there's an escape thing or something, but then the realization hits that
parachute.
No, it's a disaster, and those people are just gone.
And there were people that they knew the building was collapsing, and they panicked and started jumping out the windows of the Twin Towers.
And then the Palestinians are cheering. Did you see that?
Yeah, handing out candy in the streets, right?
God, we're not like that.
I'm a little pissed off at CNN for even showing that. I mean,
get us riled up. They should show it.
Yeah, it doesn't get us riled up in the right way.
I'm ready to re-up right now. I'm ready to go back down to my Navy station and hit it again. I am so pissed.
When I watch the buildings coming down, that gets me riled enough. Believe me,
yeah.
We have to respond so strong that no one could even have the potential to do this.
Just wipe them out. That's it. The end.
All right, Bluto. Thank you very much. Yeah.
A lot of the reasons we never, in the past when we've had terrorism here, responded quickly and really strong is there's all that political bull crap you got to put up with. You don't want to piss off this country or that one or this. I think this is big enough where the politics of it is going to take a back seat to the sheer revenge of it, that we have to now respond in a way that will show these people that, you're going to do something like this, we're going to hit you tenfold. And I don't think politics is going to be playing a big part in this one. I hope not, anyway. I hope they don't pussy out on this.
Yeah, all right. Hey, hopefully Keith the Cop will call us, because he's pretty much at ground zero at this point, trying to do what he can as a New York City policeman.
Yeah, babe.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Well, you tell us.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I work for Pepsi. We're on the roof of the supermarket looking at this place. Then we drive downtown, and we're sitting there, and the thing collapses right in front of you. I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, did we really see this? Is this really happening here?
Yeah, you got to check your brain. Like, there's no way I just saw what I just saw.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, holy God, there's people in there. It's like looking at a hotel in Vegas going down, and there's people, and sure, there's somebody you know in there, and you just can't believe that it's happening.
Yeah, and you get like a sick feeling. Like, I just felt sick, and there's nothing you could do. You're powerless. You know what I mean?
I still got a knot in my stomach.
Yeah, I was watching, and I'm just walking around the house, and all I was saying, I'm shaking my head the whole time, just going, holy S, holy S, holy S.
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
Exactly. Like, you really think that this would happen in my lifetime? I mean, come on. In this day and age. Unbelievable, guys.
You got to be careful how you say things today, but it makes the Oklahoma City bombing look like a little scratch. Well, like a little scratch.
Yeah, you know how huge that was when it happened, and before they found out it was an American that did it. Do you remember that? Everybody was like, "Oh my God, we got to kill, so we got to bomb, we got to bomb." Now we know this isn't the work of Americans. Now we have to respond hard.
All right, bro. Thank you. All right.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, Sean.
I was up in Mawa. It's in northwest Bergen County.
Yeah.
And it's about 40 miles away. And I was driving in my car, and don't feel bad, Ope, I was actually listening to the sports guys, too. And when I heard about it, I went up to the cliffs, and I was looking. You could barely see the outline of the World Trade Center. And then all of a sudden, just boom, a huge fireball I could just see from miles away just shot off the side of it. And then I went home and started watching TV, and I just saw them come down, and I was like,
yeah, it's
What happened to your mic?
I don't know. Did you hit something, Opie?
No. Wait, try it again.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
Are you playing with the buttons here, too?
I'm not playing with the buttons here. I don't know how to play with the buttons here.
When we're back in New York, you just start hitting buttons for no apparent reason.
No, I'm not playing with the buttons today. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Is there any way to take a break so we can regroup and get the website hooked up and all that? But it's I should tell people it's Opie and Anthony. We're not in Manhattan because they've shut down the city. No one is allowed in Manhattan. If you weren't there before 9 o'clock this morning, we've all been sent home basically. So we're in the studios of WLIR in Garden City. Want to thank them for helping us out because they really didn't have to let us broadcast from their studios today.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Why don't you throw in that feed and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right. All right, we'll be back in a few.
Mel Giannino is with us. He was on the 66th floor of Tower Number 1 when the plane crashed into the building today. Mel, tell me what it was like.
Well, it wasn't pleasant. I was in my office. I had just gotten there about 20 minutes earlier, and sitting at the desk, and all of a sudden I heard a large boom, a large explosion, and looked out my window and just saw flames and debris and papers cascading outside it.
It must have been a heck of a jolt.
No, it was. It felt like the building was tipping. It leaned forward and back and rocked a few times before it finally settled again.
And what did you do?
Well, after that, the floor was relatively empty, the 66th floor. And after that happened, we just went to the staircases and made our way downstairs.
And you were there in 1993 during the other explosion.
Yes, I was.
The same floor, or?
No, it's 64th floor.
Mm-hmm. Is this enough?
I think so.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the towers are gone, so we know that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so you made it out, and was there smoke in it as you're going down in the building?
Yes, there was. Not as much as during the explosion the first time in '93, but there was an acrid smell, and but it was a fairly orderly progression down the stairs, and everybody made it out pretty well. It was actually the evacuation was a lot quicker than the last time when the bombing.
Do you know what floors were actually hit? How far above you? Was it like 20 floors above you, maybe roughly the main impact?
I'm not sure. I'm hearing it was the 82nd floor. Originally, we thought it was on the 73rd floor, but listening to the radio, I understand it was the 82nd floor.
And several floors were wrecked anyway, and So,
and the floors above were engulfed in flames.
Mel, I'm so glad that you escaped, and we thank you very much for talking with us.
You're welcome.
Mel Giannino, who was on the 66th floor today, and this is the second time he's been through a terrorist attack at the World Trade Center, which in effect is no longer existent, but still a major rescue effort underway there. Again, we expect a Pentagon briefing momentarily.
Remembering the tragic events of 9/11. You're listening to the Opie and Anthony Show from Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Coming up, a portion of the Ron and Fez show from that day, and a special 9/11 roundtable discussion with the 2001